welcome to all the panelists and all the attendees who are here. The reason we are here is to, talk about a very important aspect, that is preparing for a fire-safe future. And why is it important? I just mentioned, but I'll reiterate for all the people who are joining us right now on the live as well as on the Zoom webinar. 14th to 20th is a time when we remember all those people who have laid down their lives while saving us in a fire tragedy, while trying to save us. Especially it is connected to the Bombay Dock Blast, but from a general perspective, it is the week where we remember why it is important to build a fire-safe India. And for this, we will have a very, very engaging panel discussion with some of the very well-known people in the industry. I'll start with Santosh Warik sir, who is the Director of Fire Services Maharashtra. And we also have on board Mr. Suresh Menon, who is the President of Fire and Security Association of India. With that, we also have a very young panelist and an ex-journalist, Dyutiman Basu, who, as he mentioned, fortunately, unfortunately, was present during the time of Kamla Mills fire incident. He covered it on ground as a journalist and has personally also engaged with people who lost their life during this incident. And then we have Mr. Pushkar Gokhale on the panel, who is the Vice President and Head of B2B Business Godrej Security Solution, one of the leading brands in the space. And this session is done in association with Design Deco, which is a platform created for architects and design professionals and everybody who loves home and home spaces. The idea is to discuss topics which are relevant to all of us and which can make an impact on our life. The hashtag for today is I am fire safe. You can see it on our social media as well and on the posts while you look at it. So let's begin the day. And to begin the charge, I would like Mr. Pushkar Gokhale, Vice President and Head of B2B at Godrej Security Solution, to set the context. May I have you on screen, sir?
Yeah, Supreet, thank you very much. Namaskar and a very good evening to all of you. 14th of April is observed as the National Fire Services Day. And this is actually towards, remembrance of those 71 brave hearts who actually lost their lives in a very, very tragic incident which happened on 14th of April, 1944. And it was an explosion which caused a massive fire on a ship which was loaded with ammunition. And this was anchored in the Bombay docks. So it was really unfortunate, but these brave hearts really fought it out. So first of all, my salute to all the fire services officers and the entire fire services team for the kind of work they are doing without thinking or caring about their own lives to protect people. So a big salute to all of them. In fact, it's so unfortunate that, we're talking about an incident which happened, say, about 70 years back. But then even today, we are actually haunted and grappling with fire incidents. I mean, it could be for the Upahar cinema theater incident, which happened way back in 1997, or the Kamla Mills compound episode, which panned out in 2017, or even the recent one, the recent one at the Dreams Mall, which happened a couple of weeks back. I think all are these examples which actually go to say that although the fire incidents or fire accidents are something which are one of the most controllable kind of accidents, but there is a lot to be done towards controlling such incidents. In fact, as a matter of fact, just to roll out a few statistics, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the MHA, actually publishes a report which is called ADSI, that's the Accidental Deaths and Suicide Incidents. And they published this report. In fact, the report for 2019 stated that there were about 11,037 fire incidents which were reported. I'm putting stress on the word reported across the country in the year 2019. In fact, it is certainly a staggering figure, but that's not all. In fact, what's more to it is the fact that there is a high or a disproportionately high, significantly high amount of number of deaths which are happening compared to the incidence of injuries. And in fact, this is something which points out to the fact that the severity of these incidents, of these accidents, is actually such that the nature of these fire is prone or basically is causing a lot of harm or is affecting the mortality, human mortality, which is on a much, much higher side. And this is something which one needs to really think about. For that matter, today, in fact, a lot of residential buildings or commercial buildings which do not follow certain safety protocols are at a very high risk. And the kind of fire incident which may happen would happen without giving any warning. And that's something which is extremely worrying. And my question to everyone is, why should innocent and helpless people lose their lives just because of such fire incidents? And in fact, I believe that, all this, yes, there are certain reasons, like, there could be a high concentration of high rise buildings, or, a huge amount of density of buildings, lack of, acceptance or adoption of safety protocols, or even sheer carelessness. But this is something which needs to be really avoided. In fact, on the sidelines of the National Safety Week and to commemorate the National Fire Services Day, we have panel members, very, very expert panel members with us, with whom we are going to discuss and have a detailed discussion and thought-provoking discussion about the intricacies and, basically certain critical aspects about such fire incidents. In fact, they will also throw light on what are the challenges in India, what are the safety protocols, precautions to be taken, and there will be reference to certain real life incidents as well. And I'm sure that the expert panelists who are there today will definitely help us to improve and increase the awareness about fire safety and ultimately help India to brace against such fire incidents. And basically, we have to move towards a zero fire incident history. That's what should be the target. And I'm sure that the expert panelists will throw a lot of light, which will help us out today. So with that, I conclude my initial thoughts. Thank you very much. Over to you, Supreet, and the eminent panel members who are there today. Thank you.
Thank you, Pushkar sir. Now, may I please ask Santosh sir to please say a few words and deliver his keynote address for the people.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity given. 14 April 1944 was a very unfortunate incident, but after that, recent incidents of Calcutta fire, wherein 7 firefighters lost their life in the lift. So these are the alarming incidences. Delhi, Juggi Jhopadi incidents, 2 firefighters lost their life. So these are the continuous events happening across India, wherein fire service people, they are losing their life. We have to create a safe envelope for living. The National Building Code 2016 is a real guiding document, wherein Part 4 specifically gives the fire prevention, life safety, and the fire protection requirements for each and every building. The buildings are classified from residential to educational, institutional, uh, mercantile, industrial, storage, and hazardous. And accordingly, means based upon the potential risk of the building, and accordingly the treatment is given. But major issue is from the planning point itself, either the developer or builder and architect, their role is very much crucial, wherein they have to plan in advance for what type of building they are coming up with and what will be the use. Unfortunately, what is happening is they plan for something, and at the end of the building, when building is completed after 3-4 years, the use is totally get changed, or the internal layouts get changed. So the travel distance, dead end, these are the basic principles what provided in National Building Code. They are not they are violated. So that should not happen. In the initial stage, whatever the or approval is granted by the special planning authority or urban local body, that should be maintained. Second issue is whatever the material we are providing inside for the electrical ones, lifts or whatever it may be, that should be of minimum standard. I'm not talking about international standards as such, but whatever the Bureau of Indian Standards, which is the government of India body, which gives approval for such type of standards. So that standards at least should be followed in all type of buildings for electrical ones, lifts, or other services which are very crucial for the building. Then only it is possible to contain the fire in case of any emergency in that particular compartment, what we call, so that it will not horizontally and vertically spread to the upper floors, and the whatever systems are there, sprinklers detection, that will come in action, and alarm will be generated, and proper alarm is given to the security or the all the occupant of the building, and evacuation, safe evacuation can be possible. In current national building code, there is a concept of fire tower. The fire tower is the which contains one fire lift, one fire escape staircase, and entire this gamut is pressurized, wherein no heat and smoke can enter from any of the floor to this place. So it is a safe horizon for the firefighters to reach on upper floors. So firefighter is also human being. He is not a superman. So he cannot walk down 50 floors or 60 floors or 100 floors. So he has to use lift for reaching on upper floors. So for that, the proper fire tower, if provided, they can reach on the upper floor, and they can use this fire tower for carrying out evacuation also. So these various provisions are already made in the code. The architect, the town planners or developers, builder should be aware about what are the basic provisions, the minimum requirement for the building to make it as a safe, because every building is going to be there at least for the 50 to 70 years. So you cannot change it after every 10 or 15 years. So considering all these aspects, it is normally take example of any of the residential building. The builder provides you the minimum electrical supply, whatever wiring is there. Then you keep on adding the gadgets. Only in bedrooms you provide the AC. Now you require ACs in the hall also. Then you require kitchen gadgets, different types of. So that load is not calculated at the initial stage. And every flat, if they keep on adding such type of gadget, unfortunately something will happen. The periodical check of this installation is required, but unfortunately it is not happening. So that is the major causes what we face, that electrical short circuits or overloading. These are the common issues in the fire. Secondly, nobody get kills due to actual burns, but 80% of the people they get means smoke inhalation. Asphyxia is the major cause of death in case of fire, because you get hardly 3 to 4 minutes if the any flat or any of the factory has got any plastic material or chemicals or rubbers activities, then the smoke whatever liberated due to fire is so dangerous. If you inhale that immediately, within 5-10 minutes you will be dead. So considering all this aspect, we should plan everything. We should plan the evacuation in advance. So what should be the my plan? What should be my machinery layout? What will be the my sitting layout of the floor? So that from the farthest point to the nearest exit, I should get it within the 30 meter. If the building is provided with sprinkler, it can be extended up to 45 meters. So such type of requirements are already specified in Part 4 of National Building Code. If effective implementation of National Building Code Part 4 is made, definitely we will be in a position to save the precious life. Unfortunately, fire safety or electrical safety is not covered in school education. In developed world, they taught from the basic junior level itself. But unfortunately, we don't cover it. Then in college also, we don't cover it. So by accident only, we will be get that knowledge how to deal with the extinguisher. My appeal to platform is, means all the audience is, considering the requirement, at least you should have one fire extinguisher in your home, so that in case of emergency, there are now so many simple fire extinguishers are available, which are maintenance free for 5 years. So you can use such type of basic fire extinguisher and keep it in your home or in the hall itself, so that in case of any emergency, electrical short circuit or kitchen fire, you can utilize it on a right time, so that at the initial stage only you will be in a position to control the fire, and further deterioration of the fire will not happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Santosh sir, for many of the points that you mentioned. In fact, it covers a large number of questions that I wanted to speak with you. But just to head with one of the points that I saw in one of the interviews that you made, the response time, which is very important in the country, due to traffic blocks, and also the way people drive. Also, people think that it's only going to impact a certain number of people who are around them, but the implication is much beyond. If I'm not wrong, the developed countries have a response time of 8 to 10 minutes, whereas in our country, especially in metros like Mumbai and Bangalore or Delhi, which have scanty roads or issues in the roads, it's somewhere around 20 to 30 minutes. So what are those things that people don't realize that they need to improve, and how can we improve upon the response time?
Let me first put the facts that if you take example of Pan India, as per the report published by the 13th Finance Commission, the gap of fire services across the India is more than 80% in terms of number of fire stations, number of fire appliances, and number of trained manpower. So considering 80% gap, you see only Mumbai, Delhi or Metro wherein fire services are there up to say 80-90%. But unfortunately, for other rural areas and all that, you don't have that much fire services available. So response time is the once you received the fire call, within 1 minute you should dispatch the vehicle from the fire station, and within 5 minutes in the city it should reach to the incident site, and in rural area it should be minimum 20 minutes. So that is the national standards we have. But as you said, during the peak hours in Delhi and Mumbai, it takes minimum 20-30 minutes also. So there is totally mismatch for the response time.
So there has also been a lot of like the National Building Code. Do we need a national fire safety law as well, which is uniform, which at least puts up a certain guideline for people to follow? Where do you stand on that aspect, sir? Do we need that?
Already means it is a state subject. Fire is a state subject. So majority of the fire services, they have the state level fire services. Only in Maharashtra, Gujarat, Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan, the fire services are with the urban local bodies. Rest of
Yeah.
the areas, rest of the states, it is with the home department, and you will find at least adjacent to every police station, there is a fire station. So
Yeah.
some response mechanism is available. But in these states, only the fire services are available with urban local bodies. So that is the major issue what we are facing.
Okay. So you did mention that when you plan a house and then you start living in it and you start adding gadgets and adding more ACs into your room, there are chances of more fire incidents due to electrocution and all of other things, which has become even worse during the time of pandemic, because now people are working at home. And since you have kids at home, you are both working parents and all, you use different rooms, and therefore you need more electrical appliances running at the same time. Has there been any certain initiative taken by your department to raise awareness among people? What can they do to reduce it, or what are the challenges that they need to counter?
Basic means testing of the electrical equipments is required at least twice in a year. Electrical checking, whether the load, whatever you are using and whatever inputs you are getting at your flat level, it is sufficient enough to scatter that load. Unfortunately, what is major culprit is the interiors. You keep on loading all plywood, false ceilings, then side walls with wooden panels and all that. So anything goes wrong due to short circuit, that is a ready fuel available for fire for spreading. The curtains are always there. in the room. So these are the basic fuel available for fire, for spreading of fire. So we should see that no heat and means the basic principle of fire is the triangle of fire. For any fire, you should have fuel in place, heat in place, and oxygen in place. And if you want to douse the fire, you have to remove either of. You have to either remove the fuel, or you have to either remove the oxygen, or you have to remove the heat.
Remove the
So
material.
by applying water, you are removing the heat. By using foam or dry chemical powder, you are uh, blanketing it, so no oxygen is there. Or if there is a fire in one curtain, and you are removing that curtain and keep it in a safe common passage and allow it to burning, or and dose it with water, so you are removing the fuel itself. So these are the basic principles of the dousing fire, so that everyone should know about. And you should have, as I told, minimum fire extinguishers. For 100 square meter area, there should be one fire extinguisher in every type of occupancy, maybe residential, industrial, business, whatever it may be, so that it can be used immediately handy for the fire extinguishment.
So one more thing which is very peculiar to Mumbai, especially which I have seen from a design aspect, is the box grills which are put outside, which during the time of such incidences, both from the entry perspective for the firemen and to evacuate the person who might be trapped, becomes very, very difficult. Uh, what and plus you also mentioned about not training our kids right from the start on fire safety. What are those two or three things that when you go back to schools or you meet people, you tell them these are things which you must not do when you are designing a building or living in your home?
See, we have to develop the fire safety culture in our all public. So that is the basic need of the time. So awareness is required at all levels. So what can go wrong if I put something adjacent to fuel or adjacent to something? If heater I am putting adjacent to the curtain, definitely there will be a chances of fire. Then if I am using extension board and I'm keeping 4 5 gadgets on it, heavy gadgets like iron or something like that, definitely it is going to be causing problems due to short circuit or overloading. So such type of incidents we should avoid. So one should know about what can go wrong in case of such activities if they are carrying out. So these are the basic simple tips that we need to inculcate in the school itself, so that they can implement it in their house also, or in future wherever they are working at that area also they will implement.
Okay. From here, I will move on to Dyutiman. Dyutiman, you were present at the time of the Kamla Mills fire. You were a journalist then, and you were covering it. Many people do, realize the economic impact of a fire accident, but what they often don't see is the emotional impact on people who were there. So, if you could tell us, you were there on ground. There were, of course, issues and gaps which could be filled in. But what were those emotional aspects that people often don't see?
Uh, I mean, I'll be very honest with you. At that moment in the ground, of course, there were some people. I remember. I don't remember the names, but I remember there was this lady who had a birthday that day, and the entire group. Some, I think, most of them had made it out, and some of them had got stuck, including that lady, that poor lady. And these people were really scared who had come out, and they were, some of them were crying, and some of them were really really scared on what will happen if they the others will make it out or not. But at the same time, I felt that there were a lot of people, people don't lose hope. So I mean, most of them were very positive, and they were not losing hope that okay, the fire safety department people have arrived, they have gone in, so maybe something will happen, something is will be there. And to be honest, even when the bodies, they started bringing the bodies out, all of them were unconscious or dead, which we didn't know. But most of the family members were positive, okay, that they are unconscious, maybe they'll get better. So they were moving to out within the ambulances to the hospital. It was only much later when we went to the hospital. It was around in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock, when we moved from Kamla Mills to check on what was going on in the hospital, that we found out that people were really broken and people were crying and they had lost their family, they had lost their wives, their children. So the very emotional sad part we saw more in the hospital. There, most people were still having hope, or I mean, they had not entirely given up. Most of them had that something had gone wrong. They were still hopeful that okay, if they are out, if the ambulance is there, maybe their lives will be spared. But I
Prithiman,
think
many
most
people,
of them
yeah, yeah,
were
many
stuck.
people
They were
don't know this, but at that time I was working at Kamla Mills, and we were in fact going to plan an sort of an evening with some of the colleagues in Kamla Mills only because it was right in the vicinity.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we got all tired with work and we decided, okay, maybe next day. It's just like the Goa plan we all make. It
Mhm.
never happened. Uh, but when the next day we heard about it, since then, it took me a long time to trust a restaurant and get into that space and, have a dine. So whenever we used to walk in, the three things I used to ask is whether you have a table, can I see your fire exit? And are you prepared in case something happens? Where is your exit door? So that changed in my own personality. And I believe that would have changed in many other people as well. And I have seen many associations and brands coming together to raise awareness. One such association, which is very, very important and is here, is Fire and Security Association of India. We have Suresh Menon, who is the president of the association. So coming to you, what are those things that are repeatedly getting, in the bracket of lapses? We haven't covered it, but as an association, we have been trying our best to make that change because behavior changes over a period of time. What are those things and what are the initiatives that have been taken by FSCI?
Well, thank you. Before I answer your question, I would like to first of all salute the fire service men who lost their lives. This being the fire service week, we through Mr. Warwick, FSA would like to convey our respects to all the firemen across India for their selfless services. FSA also are involved with the fire departments locally, and during this week they have been conducting marathons, cyclothons, fire drills, and jointly promoting the awareness across India. But to answer your question, let me first, tell you briefly about what is Fire and Security Association, because many of you would not be knowing the background. Um, well,
Please go ahead.
yeah, well, Fire and Security Association of India is a non-profit organization established in 2002, representing the fire protection, life safety, security automation, building automation, loss prevention, and risk management domains. FSA's basic objective is to spread the awareness of fire, life safety, and security. And what is that we as a team are trying to do? Our vision is Surakshit Bharat, and that is safe and secure India. We at FSA are keen to make India one of the safest nations in the world. Our dream is to make safety a way of life. We want every Indian to practice safe living. Currently, we have about 8,500 members from 24 chapters across India. For achieving our goals, we have few strategies in place. Increase societal awareness through education and other awareness programs. Work closely with the government in formulations and implementation of policies, including codes and standards. Improve the quality and quantity of the talent pool that is required for our industry, that is the fire industry. For this, we have student chapters, and we do conduct trainings for them. Finally, a continuous engagement with our members to achieve their aspirations and national objectives. We also have signed MOUs with various international organizations like UL, NFPA, FIA, VDS, exposing our members to the international codes and standards. besides BIS with whom we closely work. We have also collaborations with various associations like Architect Association, Green Building Council, healthcare providers, Electrical Association, many more Indian organizations. Through their members, we again create awareness. In order to reach out and achieve our objectives, we have some strategic initiative programs, one of which is the school program. You discussed about the school children. I'm telling you, in FSCA, we are doing school programs, which is our pet project. Here, our objective is to educate school children to handle emergencies like fire. This is where I request help from all of you, including corporates like Godrej. We have covered about 4,80,000 students year before. Last year, we couldn't do it because of the COVID in our pursuit towards our vision, Surakshit Bharat. We also have set up student chapters in around 20 odd engineering colleges, and which has around 2,700 student members. We have ensured our trainers conduct sessions regularly, mold them, expose them to our industry through field visits to our seminars and expos, create platforms to showcase their projects, publish their papers in our journals, and finally give them an opportunity to work in our with our members. We have also established a student training lab, which is actually a skill development center in Pune, which covers fire, safety, security, automation, and various other products. We are planning similar labs across India. Besides this, we conduct training programs to senior citizens and women in particular. We recently launched Surakshit Nari programs. Many of these programs are conducted along with our other association, clubs, government agencies. This is our way of standing with the vulnerable sections of the society and preparing them for a life, preparing them to live a life which is safe and secure. Since April last year, we have conducted over 150 webinars, which was attended by 35,000 odd attendees. And the topics covered were fire, life safety, security. We have another good initiative which we have launched called FSI Suraksha Index. This is basically an auditing process of buildings like hospitals, hotels, commercial buildings, residential buildings, restaurants, thereby indexing them for the safety and security of that premise. This is from both the angles of fire as well as security, and we have launched it last year. Soon we will be going commercial with this program, and we strongly believe that this way we will be creating more and more safe buildings in India. I would like to introduce you to some of our flagship events quickly. We have a program called PACC, Project Heads Architects Consultant Conclave, which we do conduct every year. In the last 7 years, we have conducted this in various locations in India and a couple of times abroad. Last one was in Dubai just before COVID, and where 700 odd decision makers from our industry, who are users, architects, consultants, all assembled to discuss the fire threats as well as the security threats. We also conduct expos, which we call as FSIE. This is one India's most awaited fire security and automation expo. This year, of course, we are conducting that virtually. This is a program which attracts exhibitors from across India. One more event which we do is called FIST Awards. This is the Finest India Skills Awards and Talent Awards. This is like an Oscar for fire and security automation industry, where we have various categories, including categories in the products as well as projects. So we recognize good practices. This year we have clubbed FSIE along with FIST Awards and IFC and called it Mahayatra. This we are conducting on 8th of July, 8th to 10th of July across all our 24 chapters. Anyway, the list goes on, but I would like to end here by requesting each one of you to join FSCI and help us support the cause. Over to you.
So one question which I wanted to ask you was, small and medium enterprises, I have seen corporates do a lot of fire drills because it's required and they try to invest a lot of time. In MSMEs, they particularly need a lot of awareness raising campaigns around this. They need to be trained on fire safety. They need to take it seriously and at least have fire drills on a regular basis with their employees. Is there something that FSCI has also been doing in this regard?
You're right, Suprit. Fire drills are common amongst all corporates, mostly. Many of the corporates do have that practice regularly. For MSMEs, we have a cell within us. We have a group called MSME. We conduct trainings for them. In fact, the point which you highlighted, they are not exposed, but then through our MSME committees, they go and conduct training programs, not only in fire, but also handhold them and expose them to various benefits they get from the government as MSME. So it is like, give them a little bit of business awareness as well as fire awareness so that they come for our programs. So we do conduct that regularly, Suprit.
Is there any studies which also shows the economic impact of this? Maybe because when you speak in the value terms, that's when the gravity of the issue will come up. The reason why I'm putting forth this question is, I read a Times of India report which said every fifth of fire-related death is from India, which is a very, very staggering figure to mention. So is there an economic impact that can be told to people? What would be that in case?
What you said is right. This Times of India report, which came towards the end of 2019, did mention the same, and it also mentioned something which is important, that India has 2.5 times more deaths than China. So that shows where we stand. Yes, any fire for that matter. Is terrifying and disastrous. Mr. Basu explained to us how he went through this when there was a fire in Kamala Mills. Fires unfold chaos and fear and destroy everything that comes in its way. What is more devastating is the effects of a fire, and which can impact us for a very long time. As you said, as the panelists said earlier, fire causes loss of life, injuries. This is known to all of us. The fatalities are mostly due to inhalation of smoke, as Mr. Warwick said. Smoke inhalation can be extremely dangerous and can cause permanent damage to lungs and throat. Besides this, for a business, financial losses due to loss of production can cripple the establishment. Please note, the insurance may not always come easy, and lack of fire safety measures could invalidate business insurance. Normally, it has been observed after a devastating fire, the business will have great difficulty attracting new employees. A fire can have grave consequences, risking the loss of customers and a sullied reputation for not having to able to deliver what was promised. Downtime can be another problem. So a fire that occurs can also have effect on brand's reputation. There are cases where fire has led to companies' bankruptcy. All what I said now is the primary straightforward effects of a fire. But what I also would like to highlight through this panel is that the secondary effects. Have you imagined how much of damage fire does to an environment? A fire may begin in a building but can easily grow and spread to the surrounding areas. Fire causes huge wastage of water, One should not forget fire also generates CO2 and other greenhouse gases uh, which comes out of the burning of materials. Most importantly, partially or fully reconstructing a property or an asset is a waste of both building materials and money. And don't forget, to manufacture those materials, there is a pollution and carbon emissions which we further generate. All of us have to take up this responsibility. While we take pride in designing good buildings, we should also make it a point that all buildings we build are fire safe.
True. On this note, let me bring Mr. Pushkar onto the discussion. Sir, as a leader of fire safety solutions, what are the top reasons? Everybody knows that they need to invest in fire safety and security in general. But what are the reasons that the adoption rate is still not up to the expectation, or what should be the actual level? Why is that there a gap?
So, Supreet, I think it's a very, very vital question which you posed. In fact, let me start off with the reason as to why one should really go for fire safety or fire protection, especially when you look at your valuables or your records and things like that. In fact, I'll answer it in two parts. One is the technical aspect, and the second is the emotional aspect. Talking about the technical aspect first, I want to take a cue here from the incident which we spoke about in the opening remarks about the incident on 14th of April 1944, with the explosion which happened in the ship. In fact, we have records in the archives of Godrej, and that there was only the fire was so massive that there was only one thing which actually survived that fire, and that was a Godrej safe. Now, the entire reason why I'm wanting to bring this point is the technical aspect. Now, what happens essentially is that we often tend to neglect certain very, very vital aspects, and I'll share a few of them in this discussion. See, many a times what we think about is that, okay, I have certain records, I have certain cash, which I have kept in steel cabinet for a matter. Of course, we are keeping wooden cabinets out for the reason why anyway they will be charred and burnt in no time. So even if you look at a particular steel cabinet and you feel that, okay, I am, protected because the steel cabinet is enclosed from all sides. But many a times, there is actually a difference between a fire resistant cabinet and, one needs to ask a question that, how is it a fire resisting cabinet able to protect these records, which otherwise a normal steel cabinet is not able to do that? And the very, very simple answer to it is the fact that we often only look at the visible aspects and tend to neglect something which is hidden, which is a silent killer. So in case of a fire, what are the visible aspects? One is the smoke and second is the flames. Now, if you look at it, if there is an enclosure which is there, you could have that, and that will protect you against the smoke getting inside the enclosure or the flames getting inside the enclosure. But the silent killer is the heat which is generated in case of the fire. And just as a matter of fact, in case of a fire, particular fire, the zone which is there, which is on fire, it could, the temperature which actually could be generated is in the range of 600 to 1000 degrees centigrade, or could be 1200 degrees centigrade. So you could protect your belongings in that cabinet and or the enclosure from entry of smoke or entry of flames. But what happens to the heat transfer? And that is the vital question. A little bit technical, but since steel is a good conductor of heat, it is within few seconds that the temperature outside and the temperature inside the cabinet will be the same in case of a normal cabinet, normal steel cabinet. And suddenly you will realize that although the things inside have not caught fire, but you have reached the threshold, say for example, paper, it gets charred after 180 degrees centigrade, or the auto ignition point for these material could be from say 250 degrees centigrade onwards. And suddenly you will find that, these things will start getting charred or will get burnt, although it does not come in physical contact. And that is the reason why a fire resistant cabinet or a fire resistant safe can protect you, because it has got an insulation around. And what does that insulation do? that insulation actually protects or prevents the transfer of heat from outside into the cabinet for the rated amount of time. So it could be 1 hour rating or it could be 2 hours, but it will ensure that the inside temperature in the cabinet will not exceed above the threshold of say 170 degrees centigrade for that time period, say 1 hour or 2 hours. And we just, in fact, Mr. Santosh Dose just spoke about the time taken for the fire engines to reach and those of the fire. So in India, on an average, you could look at about an hour for that thing to really happen, or it could extend to 2 hours also. So that's the reason why you need to have that kind of rating. And hence, it is very, very important that you look at these things as an investment. The fire resistant solutions should be looked at as an investment and not as an expense, because these are all enablers. Now, this was more on the technical side. Let me also get on the emotional aspect. Typically I have seen, when I have been interacting with people, I have seen that, they tend to think that, "Arey, ye mujhe kuch nahi hoga. This is not going to happen to me." Right? So this is a psychology which we get into, that, mujhe to kuch nahi hoga yaar. Why are we really caring so much about it? And this is the root cause when we are also looking at the pandemic. I don't want to digress away from fire, but this is actually the psychology and the emotional aspect I want to talk about. In fact, because we think this way, that, okay, nothing is going to happen to me, we tend to neglect these things which I highlighted on the technical side.
True.
And God forbid, if there were to, some fire incident were to happen in any of the houses or anybody getting attacked, I think what is important for him is that he should be caring more about his own life and the lives of his loved ones, and not bother about his passport or whether the other deed documents or cash, whether he's left it open in a normal cabinet. But he should be totally free from those tensions, and that can only happen if it is protected in a proper cabinet, which is designed to protect it. And that's the emotional part. So get out of that mindset saying, "Arey, mujhe kuch nahi hoga, nothing is going to happen to me." Look at these things as enablers, and trust me, it will really help you. You will be out of that particular tension. You'll come out of it and focus only on saving the lives, because that's something which is very, very important, rather than getting tensed up and bogged down with the other aspects. And last but not the least, as I said, everything, there are a lot of things which are actually within your control, provided you take charge of it. So these solutions actually help you to take charge of things, take control of things. And that's where I think it is very important to look at it with a different perspective, on the technical side, on the emotional side. So that's about, these things, which you asked about.
You are absolutely correct. And in fact, when I discuss security with people, I say we are the land of karmas, and perhaps we are stringing too much onto karma, saying that it will not happen to me, or if it happens, mera karam tha types. That is not taking charge of this situation. But you made a very important point where you spoke about the Bombay docks blast, where the safe was the only thing which was left. Something similar also happened recently with the Dream Small fire, because I spoke to one of the people who had a vault in one of the financial institution which was there. And the first call that he made was a very frantic one, because he has kept his property papers and everything inside that. And the moment the manager said everything apart from the vault has been gutted in fire, he became very, very angry. And then he said, "What about my stuff?" He said, "Listen to me carefully. Everything apart from the vault has been gutted in fire." That's the moment he realized he made a right decision to keep the stuff at a place, and he inquired that it should be fire safe kind of a system and all of those things.
True.
Extra few minutes that you spent when you get into a restaurant and you check whether there's a fire safety, whether they are compliant, or when you look at your home, when you keep a fire extinguisher, as Santosh sir also mentioned. These are small steps, little things that we can all do to make our spaces fire safe. But to take one question back to Santosh sir, and I'll come back to you, Pushkar sir, on this, and Suresh also. You were, Santosh sir, also, you are the fire chief of MIDC, which is the industrial development area. And the fire related issues or to manage a fire in an industrial area is sometimes far more complicated than doing it in a residential area. Uh, are there things that you still see are going on the industrial front, even though they have the guidelines in front of them and all of those regulations in place of them? Are there still things which need to be corrected?
As you already, Mr. Suresh Menon discussed, for SMEs, it is very challenging to provide the minimum safety. At present, only they go for the fire extinguishers. They don't go for the fire hydrant system as such or sprinkler because they have very small plot size. So it is very difficult to accommodate the water tank pumping areas in their marginal open spaces. So that is the challenge area for small and medium scale industries. Large industries, it is totally related to the insurance. So every industry or multinational, it is straight away related to their insurance, and they carry out third party audit periodically for their systems. So if you have to carry out the maintenance of your fire pump, then you have to inform your insurance agency that from the 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, my fire pump will be down for maintenance purpose. If you do not communicate them again that my fire pump is up, then immediately the call will come to you. What happened? What is the status of the fire system, whether it is up or not? So such type of awareness is already available in multinationals and the major industries where petrochemical industries are there, hazardous activities are carried out. So they go for the proper insurance, and there are standards available. Oil industry safety directorate guidelines are there. Then international guidelines are also there, NFPA and all that. So they go as per that standard only. They don't depend upon only NBC or something like that, because NBC has a very limitation for the industries as such. Cross-country gas pipelines, that is again a separate area. Then again, there is a aviation fire safety. It is a totally different area. Port fire and safety, it is a totally different area. So these are the different verticals: the urban firefighting, industrial firefighting, aviation firefighting, and the port firefighting. So these are the specialized areas what we call, and one has to get really trained in that particular discipline itself, so that you can perform very well. So as MSME, yes, with the help of the industries association, local industries association, we carry out the demonstration for them. We teach them, their workers, how to use extinguishers in case of emergency. So major issue is what potential risk they are handling in their factory. That is more important. And what should be done in case of fire, that should be known to each and every worker, so that he can safely handle it. And if it is beyond their capacity, they should be in a position to get evacuated themselves from that premises. So that is the minimum requirement what we teach them. Thank you.
Okay. Suresh, sir, if I can bring you onto this, I asked the same question to Santosh sir also on this. What are those things which you feel are still not right and we are not getting it right? What can we do about that?
Well, I think in bits and pieces, this was answered by all the panelists. But I will tell you, that the biggest challenge is our attitude. As a society, we do not practice safety. The same report which you mentioned earlier, Times of India report mentioned that globally there are 9 million fire incidents,
Yes.
out of which 1.6 million fire incidents were recorded in India. So the challenges are many, but we at FSA know that what we do today will change the future and make India a much safer place. My request to everyone here is, let us be the change. We know for sure Surakshit Bharat, which is our vision, will not happen just like that. But we are ready to go through this long journey because we owe our children, our women, the most vulnerable citizens in our society a safe and secure life. As Mr. Pushkar mentioned, chalta hai. We keep saying for everything, including when it comes to safety of our immediate family. Friends, it's time. to change this approach, we need to start practicing safety in our day-to-day life. Safety and security will just not happen. It doesn't happen automatically. It needs to be cultivated into our lifestyle. Once we start this practice, first at our home and then our immediate community, we will soon realize that everyone around us is practicing safety, and it will become a part of our culture. Our former president, Mr. Abdul Kalam, once said, "You cannot change your future, but you can change your habits, and surely your habits will change your future." We need to change the way India looks at safety and security. We need to start respecting life, and soon India will become one of the safest nations in the world. We owe this to our children and our country. We at FSA has made this as a mission to make India a Surakshit Bharat. Thank you, Suprit.
Thank you. Coming back to Pushkar, so you did mention about the dog blast, but are there any other instances where fire solutions have actually safeguarded life and property, and you have seen, whether it's yours or any other measures that people have taken?
See, Suprit, talking about how things have been saved or valuables have been saved, there are umpteen number of incidents which have actually there, testimonials talk about in banks or even in non-banking financial companies where the building has got gutted in fire, but the fire resisting filing cabinet has protected the valuable records. Because see, one of the things which is very, very vital is that insurance may be able to cover your cash, but what happens to your records? There is no insurance to cover your records, and it becomes a massive headache to generate these records again. So that's something which is very, very crucial. In fact, I want to just add to what Mr. Menon spoke about or Mr. Santosh spoke about. And a very simple aspect of since there is such a huge amount of audience watching this, and we heard panelists talking about the way in which we look at safety has to be changed. A very, very simple thing which I want to highlight is that today you look at any old buildings which are there, you have these safety grills which are affixed on all these houses, and there have been incidents where people have actually got themselves entangled or basically got caught inside because there was no way out. I mean, in fact, the fire engines and the fire service officers, they came there for the rescue, but they were not able to get these guys out because the entire thing was enclosed with safety grills. So on one side, you are actually trying to protect yourself against a burglary attack, but you yourself have actually created a suicidal thing for you. It's like a massive cage for yourself. And this is something which is very, very small. So all of those who are watching this particular discussion, my humble request is that let's learn from what happened in the past. Let us not leave things to chance. And we could actually have a grill which will have maybe a lock at least, so that you are not caught up in a cage kind of a situation in case of fire. There is absolutely no exit at all. So boss, why do you want to get into getting yourself entangled into such things?
Sure.
So this is where I think the behavioral part comes into play. So I gave just a small example which essentially talks about this behavioral change. But yes, I mean, one needs to change the perspective entirely, start looking at things differently, start looking at various solutions. I'm not just talking about cabinets or things like that, but today there are so many solutions with the advent of technology which are there, which will help us to curtail down the number of incidents or control the number of incidents. So let's use that. Don't look at it as an expense. Arey boss, mera itna kharcha ho raha hai. But then see, the people who have gone through these incidents will be able to tell you the kind of pain which is caused. Whereas, people who are outsiders to this will never realize, what is the pain which these people go through. And this is something which I think we need to really change the mindset. So that's my perspective about it.
The elixir of the whole conversation is we need a change in attitude and we need change in behavior. If we look at the lockdown, one thing we all realized was we can't have an outside-in approach with respect to responsibility towards security, whether it's fire or otherwise. You can't depend only on the government, external agencies, your residential welfare association to do the thing for you. You have to take charge, and you have to take charge and say, I am fire safe, I am secure. And that's the reason why we all discussed today. It was fantastic to have all of you on the panel. I truly appreciate that you spent an hour of your important day and spoke about the issue. With that, we wrap up the conversation, and we hope the attitude changes next time we all meet. Thank you for joining us for the panel, and it has been lovely discussing this with all of you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Supreet.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.